Hello, it's me, and as part of our COVID-19 isolation month, I'm going to be pulling out some puzzles that I actually had way back in my collection that I hadn't really pulled out or done any tutorials on. So one of them is Tom Z's Constrained Cube. So there's different versions of the Constrained Cube, but I figured I'd just pull out the ultimate. So the Constrained Cube basically means that there's certain motions that are restricted and limited on different sides. So if you don't have any noise in the center, it can move any way that you want. But there's certain constraints. For instance, if you see this 180-degree turn over here, this half circle over here, it can only turn 180 degrees. If you see just a 90-degree half circle, it can only turn 90 degrees. And some of them are completely locked, so this doesn't turn at all. So this is called the Constrained Cube Ultimate, or Ultimate Constrained Cube. Anyway, it's got the word ultimate in it, because some of them are just 180s, some of them are just 90s, and some of them, like this, have both, or all three kinds. You've got the 180 versions on two sides, you've got the 90 version on these two sides, and then you've got a complete lockup on the white side, and then you have complete movement here. So it's a way of taking all of those variables and seeing if it can help enhance the challenge. So what I think I'm going to do is, rather than go through a specific setup, let's just see where things go. I know that there are certain ways that these can be set up to help solve a little bit easier. For instance, you can see that this 90-degree portion is opposite this 90-degree portion. These 180-degree portions are opposite. But I think there's a variety of different conformations that it can be solved in. So I'm actually not going to try to do any setups with these. Let's just sort of go with the flow and see what happens. So let's see what happens as we try to scramble this first. So let's see if we can get a good scramble here. Now, even the way that I scramble it is constrained because I can't move this at all. Anything that's moved up here can move any way that it can. So turn here, here. And what I want to make sure is that we can get every kind of possible problem that you can get with this puzzle, because no one solve, well, each different solves can be different from a previous solve, just because of how it's set up and how things are potentially bandaged. So I find that if I get a good enough scramble, I'll be able to get through much of the scenarios. And by the way, because much of you guys are in isolation, if you have questions on this particular puzzle or need me to revisit it, go ahead and post it and we'll scramble it again, or I'll try to get it in the configuration that you have. And any other puzzles that you might have that you have questions on, let me know, because, well, some of you guys have to stay indoors, which I'd highly recommend. Okay, I'm going to continue to scramble this up. Okay, so that's a pretty good scramble. So I had to change venue a little bit because we just got a dog and the dog was everywhere, and thinking that this was a chew toy, which someday it may be, who knows. Anyway, so this is a pretty good scramble, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the beginner's method. I'm not going to try to set up any of these centers. We're just going to kind of go with the flow, because part of the fun of a puzzle like this is figuring things out and kind of learning to work with it on the fly, so to speak. Plus, I'm not going to do any new algorithms, and the strategies are going to be the same layer by layer by layer. It's just going to take a little bit more strategy potentially to do it. So let's see if we can get through this. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is, since this is the side that doesn't move at all, we're going to put in this side first. So we're going to start off with the edges. So there's two kinds of centers that we have to deal with on the middle layer. There's those that go 180 degrees, the blue and the green on mine, and those that only go 90 degrees, which is the red and the yellow. So obviously with the 180 degrees, I could just move it to the proper color, the proper corner, just move it up 180 degrees, but here I can't, so I have to do it a little bit different. But we can start off with, say, this. This is the white and the green. So now if this were oriented properly, then I can just move it 180 degrees up. So I have a choice. I can either flip this and do just that, or I can shimmy it in with one of these. So as long as I can move this up, and now this is over here, oh, but this doesn't move in that direction. If that's the case, easy enough. Simply move it down so that I can move it up, line it with this color, move it up, and we're good. Now, to those who have this puzzle, you probably are okay with putting these edges in. I'm just going to go through different scenarios in case there's an issue. Here, now this is the right configuration for something that's just 90 degrees, because you don't want this flipped. If it's flipped and the red lines up, you can't move it all the way up. So you have to shimmy it in from another edge. So this can actually move in this direction. So we're going to move it in from here. So what that entails is line it up here, shimmy it up, and maybe move this back down. Okay, so where else? We've got this one. Let's just move this down. This moves down from this angle. Okay, so this needs to come out through here. This is the right configuration because this only moves by 90 degrees. If this were rotated, we'd have to rotate it in the right place. Let's actually go through that scenario. Let's say you did have it in this configuration, and you know that you can't move it up here because it won't go all the way in. And we can't shimmy it up this way because if I move it in and up, we're going to be upside down. So we need to move this upside down, and the way that we would do that is we would just find a way to do a movement that takes you down here and takes you down here. So I'm looking either for an F-R-I-F-I-R or F-I-L-F-L-I move. So I can move this down like so, but I can't move this. I can move this here, but I can't move that. I can move this here. Maybe I can move it here, so down, down, aha, up, up, and again, down, down, up, up. Okay, so that's what I want. This is now upside down. This is going to move up into this position. So I'm going to put it here, right next to it, move it up, move it in, and we're good. Okay, now the final one is here. It's upside down, so you have to find a way to move it down. So I'm going to move this down here. Can I move it down through here? I can. Bump it out of the way, and here it is. So now it's easy because this is 180 degrees where it needs to be, just like that. So again, I don't think you're going to have too much difficulty with these edges, but those are just some aspects to that situation. Okay, so corners. Let's see if we can roll with the punches here. Here's the red, white, and blue. Put this into here. Now what we're looking for is we're either looking to be able to do, if this is sitting on the right side, an RI, or if we can't do an RI, then hold it to the left side, can we do an LI? Turns out we can do both here. So once we can do that, we just do RI, DI, RD, and we can easily roll it in the way we would normally do with even a non-bandaged cube. So now this was in line. So this one can't do an RI. Can it do an LI? And it can, or an L rather. So L, D, LI, DI, and now that's in. Okay, here's this guy over here. Who belongs here? We can't move it here, and we can't move it here. So in that situation, what we need to do is we need to rotate this center by 180 degrees. So the way that that's going to work is we're going to do a 2R. You can't do it in this direction, but you can always do it in one of the directions. 2R, like this. Bump it out of the way by doing like a 2D. And now do another 2R. Move it back in and do a 2D over here. So now what you can do is you've now recalibrated to where you can move with an RI. So let's find this back here again. You're going to do that a lot. You're going to be recalibrating this a lot, by the way. So RI, DI, RD. I did a 2D just for the sake of it. Okay, so now that's in. And finally we have this one. Can this one move? Yes. If not, then it will be this one. So that's really the ins and outs of getting our top layer. So you can see that there's just a little bit of positioning that has to be done, but it's not too difficult. These, which can be positioned in, these as long as you can coordinate to either this move or this move. If you can't coordinate it with this move, then you basically bring this down with a 2R, move this out of the way with a 2D, do another 2R, move it back, and then it'll coordinate it. Okay, the middle layer. So this one is something of a little bit more of a challenge, and it might use an algorithm that I've not used a lot. You might not be able to move it in the beginner's method, like if we try to do it here, do a UI, LI, it doesn't even move. So here's what you're going to be looking for. You're looking to see which of these centers that are in between the edge that you have to move it in, can you do this move? So in this case, if it's an R or if it's an LI. If you can't do any of them, you've got to get your 180 degree center and you've got to flip that center. So here's how we're going to do that. It's the same. So if that's the case, what we're going to do is we'll move this out of the way, do it 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R. Okay, once you do that, you can now do this. As long as you can do this, we can set up our algorithm. So we're going to move this into here, and we're going to do the algorithm R, 2U, Ri, Ui. R, 2U, Ri, 2U, R, Ui, Ri. It'll pop that in, no problem. Okay, let's find another one. Okay, there's this. Does it move in like this? Nope, it doesn't. Does this move up? And this doesn't. So it's going to have to be this one that we're going to have to move. Now, bear in mind, whichever one can move up is the one that this center has, this edge has to be aligned with. That's the center it has to be aligned with. So this one obviously doesn't move in. So we're going to have to do our 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. But that's going to shift this over to here. So we don't want to do that. What we're going to want to do then is I'm going to want to put something else in its place. I'm going to want to put, say, maybe this in its place. So take this, move this down like so. It'll protect this, and I'll do our 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. We're going to do 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. And now we can pop this one back up. It won't affect this, and that will recalibrate this piece over here. So in so doing, we now find our piece. Now, this piece actually ended up here, but that's okay. This one was taken out. We can easily put it back in. So whatever was able to put this in before is not going to get affected. So it's going to be R, 2U, Ri, Ui, R, 2U, Ri, 2U, R, Ui, Ri. Pops that back in, and it puts this one in the proper configuration. So now we find that this can move up to here. So this is going to be the left-sided version. The left-sided version is just the opposite. It's going to be L, 2U, Li, Ui, L, 2U, Li, L rather, 2U, Li, Ui, L. Okay, I'll write it down, but basically that's the algorithm that I commonly use. Okay, now this guy. So how can this go in? Well, can I move up like this? I can't. Can I move up like this? I can. The problem is this is upside down because this has to be lined up with a center that I can do that motion. With here, it would be great if I can, but I can't, so I've got to flip this upside down. The way that I flip this upside down is just do the algorithm that you know from the beginner's method, which is FRU, RIUI, FI. So can I do an F? Nope. So I have to find one that I can. Here's an F here. Nope. Can I do an F here? Yeah. Can I do an R here? I can't. Can I do an F here? No. Okay. So it's going to take a little bit of strategy, but to do an R, I've got to actually rotate this. Now it's going to flip these guys, but we don't really care because I can easily flip them back. So we're going to go 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Okay, the whole purpose of doing that is so that I can flip this around. Now you can say, well, why didn't I just do that 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U here? So I could do it here, but the problem is this is where I'm trying to pull it into. So if I do that algorithm, these two will flip. If these two flip, then I have to look to see if I can do it in this one. So it'll get too complicated. I'd rather flip these two if I were to do that. So now I can do the algorithm FRU, RI, UI, FI. Okay, these are the same. Now I can undo what I just did and just do 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Okay, so now these are back. This is properly flipped. I can do this move. So we do our, let's see if I can say it right this time. We do our Li, 2U, L, UI, Li, 2U, L, 2U, Li, UI, Li. Boom. So with a little bit of an effort, we'll get these back in. And again, I'm not focusing on putting these in a specific order. Let it kind of flow doing our 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. By the way, if there's any configurations that I didn't cover with this, let me know what that is or send pictures or something and I can fill that in. But basically within what I just did is the techniques of how to get that out. You need to be able to find one of these movements, either an R or an LI. Once you do that, you can do that algorithm because it just takes going like this. If you find that you don't have any, you've got to flip this 180 degrees. Just do 2R2U, 2R2U. If you have to flip these, same kind of thing. You're looking for movements that can do that. Okay, so next step is we do the last layer, and what we want to do first is get our cross. So we're going to want to do our FRU, RUI, FI. Are we able to do that here? Well, here's an F and an R. Oh, can't do it over here. So let's search around. Not an F here, not an F here, not an F here. So it's got to be this. And because I can't do an R, I got to flip this 180 degrees. So I'll do that. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Okay, now it'll be able to do it. So we'll do F, R, U, RI, UI, FI. And it's the easiest thing in the world to just go ahead and flip this back. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Okay, now we've got our cross. Now, the whole key here is we're not going to be able to do RIDI, RDs because we can't do any D moves over here. So we're going to want to flip these, we're going to want to orient these in the proper position. Now, to those who understand the Sunni, this won't be much of a problem. Get it set up for that. Go ahead and do your algorithms to flip these here. If you don't know what that is, it's only one algorithm. It's the Sunni. There's a variety of different configurations. Don't memorize them all, because I don't. What I do is I take a look and I see which one is rotated that has the color of the top facing me on the right side. It's obviously, it's not this, because that's not facing me, it's this. So now I have to do a Sunni in this position. So find an R move that I can use. I can do it here. R, U, RI, U, R, 2U, RI, and take a look at what we have. If I get this configuration, same thing. I've got one facing me on the right side, just do it again. R, U, RI, U, R, 2U, RI. Okay, this is what you want to see. What you want to see is one that's flipped on the correct side and three that are not. What you're going to do is you're going to take the one that's on the correct side and see which one of these has the yellow facing you. It's this one. If it's this one, then I'm going to hold it here. But it's not. It's this one. If it was this one, I do another Sunni, and they'll all be flipped up. If it's this one, I do the anti-Sunni. It's the same algorithm, but just the opposite. So I'm looking for an L. Can't do it here. I can do it here. So that will flip all these in. Now, whatever configuration that you have, I always just look for the one that's on the right side with this color facing me, and I keep doing it until I get this configuration. Those that are more expert solvers will be able to give you every type of configuration and different algorithms. I don't like to memorize all that stuff. So in this case, the anti-Sunni is going to be LI, UI, L, UI, LI, 2U, L. All right, so these are all flipped up. The next step is we want to get our corners in. Now, most of the time, you're going to see two corners that are in and two that have to be flipped. Sometimes you'll see all of them are in, and sometimes you'll see a situation like this where none of them are in. Well, this will be a good way to show what you need to do, and this algorithm is pretty easy. What you have to make sure of, it's actually a combination of two algorithms. One is a Sunni that you just saw me do, or the anti-Sunni actually, and the other is a very typical corner swapping algorithm from your last layer. And that's where you do a U move, then an R move, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. So it's something that you've seen to permute these corners around, keeping this the same. But to do this algorithm, you have to have an R move and an LI move. There's an LI move, but not an R move. How about over here? No. How about here? No. Here? Yes. But can I do an LI? And yes. So this actually is correct. Now, if you don't have that situation, then you're going to have to take, by the way, it works best when you have these two of the 90-degree centers opposite each other. You'll be able to do it. It doesn't always happen that way. If that happens, then you have to do your 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. It'll flip these, but it doesn't really matter because you can flip it back once you get these corners in. Okay, so I know I can do these. So just randomly, I'm going to do that algorithm, which will get two in. So it's going to be UR, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. Okay, so what you're going to see is a very similar, very familiar setup. These got reorganized, but you're going to see that I'm in that same position where one is up and three are not, and this is always going to be facing me. So what I'm going to do is I'm immediately just going to do an anti-Sunni. R, U, LI, UI, L, UI, LI, 2U, L. Okay, everything is back, but you're going to notice something a little different. Two edges are going to be in. It just happens that the center's in. It doesn't always happen that way. When that happens, this is the second kind of configuration. You're going to want to put this behind you, put the two corners behind you, and you're going to do that again. Again, make sure these are all up over here. So that's going to be, do the corner swap. U, R, U, I, L, I, U, R, I, U, I, L. Then go right into an anti-SUNY. R, L, I, U, I, L, U, I, L, I, 2U, L, and you can see that all the corners are now in. So let's put this over here, and now it's just a matter of doing edge swaps. Now with an edge swap, I've got to do a 2R. So find one that'll give me a 2R. I don't have that here, but I can do a 2L. Well, actually, I can do a 2R. Doesn't matter which side I'm at. Okay, so with that said, we'll take this on our left, and I'm just going to do an edge swap of these two. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. I have to keep going back and forth, and 2R, 2U. That places this in, these are in. That's an opposite edge swap. Now I'm going to do an adjacent edge swap, which is fine because I just need 2Rs for that also, and this can move any way I want. And this will be put back in, so that's going to be 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, and you're done. Finished. So you've now solved your constrained cube extreme. A nice fun variation. The solve strategy is just the same. You just have to sort of work around these bandages. I prefer to not set up the edges, the centers in certain positions. I like to just kind of go with the flow. So hope that made sense. If there's any further questions, let me know. Post any questions or pictures. In the meantime, stay indoors, have fun with your puzzles or Netflix or whatever you got to do, but sit this one out, stay inside. And if you have any extra masks, instead of using them by going out and doing things you ought not do, why don't you donate them to your local hospital where you have healthcare workers that are in the front line all the time, every day, making sure that patients and people get treated. So with that, I say, keep safe, keep healthy, and I'll see you for the next video. Thanks for watching.